It was his way, otherwise he would talk to you about it ad nauseum forever and gave in. And I'm like, why can't I just write my own freaking
The
check?
air in the courtroom was thick, so motionless that even the slightest noise would have cut through it like a knife. All the seats were occupied, but there was a silence in the room. No cough.
And I was trying to kind of include everybody in it, as I thought this would be a great way to kind of connect and build relationships and work together. And Mary and I were very much on the same page. And
No creak. Only the stifling hush of tension so dense it stuck to the skin, pressing against the chest of whoever had the temerity to breathe too hard. Back in the front row, TLC producers sat rigidly, pen poised over their notebooks, not wanting to break the tense mood. Several rows back, members of the Brown family shifted uncomfortably.
The Robyn's house, way too many rules. You'd have to knock on the door and wait for someone to come to the door and answer it. The safest role for me.
Each one responding in his or her own subdued manner. Some maintained their fixed gaze straight ahead, preparing for the inevitable crash to come. Others just looked elsewhere, as if gazing downward might somehow protect them from the blow. And then, gradually, Christine Brown stood. The soft creak of her chair scraping against the wood floor echoed louder than it should in that charged quiet. She smoothed the front of her dark emerald blouse. Not vanity, but as if buckling armor, ready for combat. Her expression was set, but her hands vibrated ever so slightly. This was not fear shaking through her. This was rage. The sort of rage built quietly over years, suppressed under mannered smiles, throttled behind it's okays that never were. When she did finally talk, her tone was gentle low, even, almost breakable. "Your Honor," she began, her tone trembling at the edges. "For over a decade, I contributed money into what I was told was a joint grocery fund. I believed it was for all of us. All the wives, all the children, all of our homes. That's what I was told. That's what I believed." She stopped. A handful of people in the audience shifted forward in their seats. Christine swallowed hard, and when she went on speaking, her voice changed. It hardened, becoming louder, cracking through the courtroom like a whip. But it was a lie. Gasps went out. Heads turned. The quiet cracked open. On the defense table, Robyn's mouth parted fractionally, but she did not speak. Her hands clenched tightly around a wad of tissue, blinking repeatedly as if to anchor herself. Next to her, Cody sat stiff, arms folded, eyes fixed rigidly straight ahead, his stance cool, unengaged, as if none of this was his fault, as if this explosion wasn't the result of years of his own silence. Christine stood and turned to address the jury, shaking now, not with weakness, but with the deluge of truth finally released. "I fed Robyn's family, while my own children ate off leftovers." Another swell of stunned whispers. She didn't wait for it to dissipate. "That wasn't sisterhood," she continued, her voice rising with every word. "That was betrayal. And I'm here today because no one else would stand up to it. Not in our homes. Not on our show. Not in our so-called family." The judge arched a brow but let her go on. He knew this was more than testimony. This was a reckoning years in the making. Christine rummaged through her bag and extracted a creased, crumpled piece of paper. Its corners were worn, the folds deep from having been folded and unfolded many times over. She displayed it to the court. "This," she said obstinately, "is the original family compact we all signed. The compact that held out the promise of equal input and equal share. Food for all the children, in all the homes. I believed in that system. I raised my children to share because I thought we were all sharing." Her voice trembled, then firmed up. But gradually I discovered the truth, that sharing only meant me. Behind the defense table, Robyn crouched forward towards her lawyer, urgently whispering. The attorney did not respond. Her gaze was on Christine, her senses aware of the perilous gravity of this moment. Christine continued. "I recall one night," she said softly now, as if the recollection hurt. "My daughter Isabel was sobbing. All we had in the fridge was eggs and a jar of peanut butter. I phoned Robyn, told her we were low, and asked if we could draw from the household account. Do you have any idea what she said to me?" Christine addressed the jury, her jaw clenched. "Told me she'd just put in the monthly order and couldn't reroute anything, because her children were finicky." A soft, disbelieving whisper traveled around the room. "Wow." Christine massaged her forehead. "But I had paid my share only 2 days before. My kids were to be included in that order. Or so I thought. That's when I began keeping records." She walked over to the plaintiff's table and placed a large box upon the stand. Inside, binders, carefully labeled, stacked neatly. 10 years of bank deposits, grocery lists, dates, and delivery slips. And the same pattern repeats itself again and again. My money spent on Robyn's groceries, while my children lived in less. The math never worked. The food never came. That was when Robyn snapped at last. "I didn't do anything wrong," she blurted, her voice cracking. "I have younger kids. They have dietary needs. Christine's just—" "Miss Brown." The judge cut in, raising a hand. "You'll have your turn." Christine didn't even look at her. "You always said you needed more," she rasped, her voice low but slicing. "But we needed more as well. I had 6 kids in one home and no husband at the dinner table. You had Cody on your couch nightly. Your pantry's full. Fresh fruit, beef, shelves full to the brim. My kids grew up thinking we were poor, when we were actually just being neglected." Her voice fell to near a whisper. "And the whole time I was being told we were sharing." Courtroom footage recorded each moment. Producers from Sister Wives later stated they had never heard Christine so fire-breathing. Straightening her shoulders, Christine addressed the judge. "This isn't about dollars. It's about justice. It's about kids being fed, or not fed. It's about promises made and broken. I didn't come here to harm anyone. I came here to defend the people I love." The judge smiled slowly. "Thank you, Miss Brown." Christine breathed, a quivering, deep breath, and sat back down. For the first time in years, she felt less burdened. Robyn across the aisle gazed down, wringing her tissue into knots. Cody didn't glance up. The judge adjusted his glasses, but before the air had time to settle, Christine's attorney, Rachel Vance, a serene and authoritative figure, stood and approached the front. She nodded toward the stack of binders. "Your Honor," she started, "we introduce Exhibit A, a decade of record grocery payments, bank transfers, itemized orders, and home budgets, all compiled and kept by the plaintiff." She clicked a remote control, and the courtroom screen flashed with a huge spreadsheet. For 8 years, from 2013 through 2021, Christine Brown made between $600 and $1,000 a month to a shared grocery account. Money deposited into a Robyn Brown-owned account. A gasp of dismay ran through the room. Cody fidgeted in his chair. Rachel indicated a bar chart on the monitor. Of about 128 recorded grocery orders ordered during that period, 7 deliveries were made to Christine's residence. The murmurs increased. Robyn leaned forward toward her attorney, her voice urgent. The defense attorney scribbled notes but remained quiet. Rachel clicked again, and side-by-side photos of their pantries appeared on the screen. Robyn's pantry was neat, fully stocked, organic goods, labeled bins, snacks for days. Christine's fridge contained nearly nothing. A carton of eggs, a half stick of butter, and a bottle of generic ketchup. More photos flashed. Robyn's freezer contained salmon, roasts, fruit, prepared dinners. Christine's freezer contained frozen vegetables and a bag of freezer-burned chicken legs. Rachel turned to her client. "Miss Brown, are these pictures genuine?" "They are," Christine answered curtly. "Same day, same household account, but my fridge never matched my bank balance. Hers did." Rachel turned to the jury. "This is not jealousy. This is justice." Christine was informed that this was an equal system, yet her contributions paid for someone else's bountiful pantry, while her own children were instructed to ration milk. A juror wiped their eyes. Rachel pushed on. Exhibit B. More than 100 individual Venmo and PayPal transfers marked grocery or household fund, all paid straight to Robyn Brown. The receipts matched the payments. But the deliveries? She waited for effect. Nearly all to one address. The screen switched to a map covered with delivery location pins. 95% I sent to Robyn, some to Mary or Janelle, less than 5% to Christine. Cody sat back, exhaling. Robyn's voice cut through the quiet. "I had the youngest children. That's why I ordered more. They required lunches for school. I wasn't hoarding anything." Rachel's tone was even but unrelenting. "So you're saying you bought groceries only for your children? With money everybody contributed?" Robyn faltered. I didn't count. But yes, I ran the orders, made the calls, arranged the deliveries." Rachel's gaze didn't waver. "And after 10 years, Christine, who contributed nearly half, got only 7 deliveries." Robyn remained silent. Then Rachel hit one final button. The speakers came alive with the voice of a recorded call in 2019. Christine's voice. "Hey, I spotted the Costco order. Was any of that for our house?" Robyn's voice. "No, sorry. The kids are running through snacks. I'll give you some next time." Christine. "It's been 5 months since we've received anything." Robyn. "Yeah, I know. But this order was kinda needed." The final line repeated, the force of it settling like a rock over the still room. They tell you can't put a value on trust. But in this family, trust had a price tag, and it was someone who cashed it in. Christine appeared before the court with one piece of paper. Not a legal brief, not an emotional letter, but a printed image of a text message. It was the sort of message you wouldn't give a second glance, unless you knew the context for it. In it, Christine requested Robyn's portion of groceries that week, an innocent ask fired off on a Wednesday. Robyn's response? Order already submitted. Sorry. Let's circle back next cycle. But the thing is, there never was a next cycle. Christine's voice shook, but not with weakness. With the burden of years of unsaid. I began baking my own bread, she whispered, not because I wanted to, but because I could no longer afford a loaf and still feed my children fruit to take to school. Rachel, Christine's lawyer, addressed the jury with a voice etched with righteous indignation. This is not hyperbole. This is not drama. This is exploitation. The family trust fund was based on trust. Trust that Robyn would distribute resources equitably, and she did not. When Christine had the temerity to say why not, she received excuses in lieu of explanations. The air was heavy. Robyn had the trust. Robyn had the control. And Robyn abused both. While Robyn's children feasted on almond-crusted chicken and fresh smoothies, Christine's kids were scraping mold off cheese, being told, just a few more days until payday. Robyn shot to her feet. I was doing my best, she blurted. The judge didn't flinch. Sit down, Mrs. Brown. You'll have your turn. The court's focus briefly turned to Christine's children in the second row. They spoke not a word. They didn't need to. Their eyes said it all. Quiet grief, years of silent meals. Injustice so ordinary it became routine. And then Rachel spoke something that sliced through the legalese like a knife. It's not about the food. It's about what the food symbolizes. Love, fairness, dignity, safety, all of which were withheld from half of this family, while the other half had seconds. Christine did not cry. She did not have to. Her truth had already come crashing down. The court had already witnessed the spreadsheets, the bank transfers, the cold, hard numbers. But now it was time for something more. The judge cleared his throat. The court will now hear testimony from the next witness, Miss Gwen Brown. A low rumble ran through the gallery, the way the sky rumbles before a storm. Gwendolyn emerged in a simple gray blazer and black trousers. No cosmetics, no adornments, just a pale, unflinching face. Bravery instead of beauty. Christine gazed at her daughter in soft pride, but Gwen's eyes were already fixed on Robyn. Following her oath, Christine's lawyer walked up. Please state your relationship to the plaintiff. I am her daughter, one of Christine Brown's 6 kids. And over the years your mother made toward the family grocery kitty, were you residing in her household? Yes, from childhood to college vacations. And then, did you ever notice anything out of the ordinary in your groceries at home? Gwen shrugged in a bitter little laugh. Yeah, we didn't have any. The courtroom murmured in amusement. Even the judge smiled slightly before composing herself, but Gwen wasn't smiling. Her voice held something more weighty than humor, the kind of pain that lingers. Growing up, I assumed we were just broke, she clarified. Dinner was stretched thin. Rice, frozen corn, sometimes toast with peanut butter. But when I babysat over at Robyn's, her kitchen resembled Costco blew up in it. The lawyer leaned forward. Elaborate on that. She had it all. Name-brand foods, fresh fruits and vegetables, organic cereals, Lunchables, juice boxes, frozen meals, rotisserie chicken, things we never shopped for. Her pantry was stocked for 20. And you knew your mom was paying for that same grocery budget? Gwen's jaw clenched. Yeah, she showed me the transfers. I remember one, it actually said grocery shares. $800. We never received a single box from that order. Her voice didn't tremble, but the words came crashing down like a hammer. One time, I asked if we could take some snacks home after babysitting. Robyn told me, those are for my kids. Gasps ran through the courtroom. Christine bit her lip, fighting back tears, looking down. Gwen blinked furiously. We didn't have enough, and she knew it. My mom just didn't want to cause any trouble. She thought being nice would do it. It didn't. The attorney drew up an exchange of texts on the projector. Gwen begging for more food. Christine replying, I'm sorry, I sent money to Robyn already. I'll try again next week. Then came the question that would slice the courtroom open. Gwendolyn, did you ever witness Robyn intentionally leave your family out of grocery orders? Gwen didn't hesitate. Yes. She reminded them about Thanksgiving 2018. How Robyn had ordered plenty to eat. 2 turkeys, 2 hams, pies, soda, mashed potatoes, cider, the whole shebang. And how her family received deli turkey. Robyn's reasoning, your mom's not hosting this year. But Christine had still made a contribution. She'd even sent extra money, thinking that Robyn was overwhelmed. She wasn't overwhelmed, Gwen said icily. She was selfish. Robyn sprang up once more. I did the best I could. I didn't mean to hurt anybody. The judge bashed his gavel. Mrs. Brown, and one more thing like this and you'll be in contempt. Gwen refused to look away. I don't hate her. I just wanted her to respect us. And when the lawyer asked her what she would tell Robyn at that moment, Gwen's response chilled the air. You made us feel like second-class kids. You took money that was for all of us and spent it only on yours. I know what you did. My siblings do too. And one day, your kids will too. And when they ask you why, I hope you can tell them. Silence. Heavy. Unforgiving. Christine wept silently into her handkerchief. The gallery shifted in uncomfortable realization. The figures were bad enough, but now the agony had a face. Court recessed for lunch. Outside, Gwen stood before the reporters. I didn't come here to hurt anyone. I came here to tell what I know. My mom gave everything, and she was treated like nothing. Inside, Robyn sat immobilized. She knew what was coming, because Christine's lawyers weren't finished. Not by a long shot. When court reconvened, lawyer Rachel Vance stepped up to the bench, clutching a manila folder as if it were a live grenade. Your Honor, we are presenting what is quite possibly the most incriminating piece of evidence in the case. Exhibit C. The projector pulsed to life with a scan of a contract. Signed May 2nd, 2013, by all four wives. This was the grocery contract. The very paper that detailed how money was to be raised, how it was to be spent, and, in stark, irrefutable terms, that groceries were to be split down the middle depending on the size of the family. And there it was. Robyn's signature. No loopholes, no miscommunications, no he said, she said. The judge leaned forward. This contract, was it signed voluntarily? Rachel nodded. Yes, Your Honor. Witnesses attest there was a family meeting. Robyn was selected because she had more time and worked on most of the online orders. Christine did agree to the plan, under the belief it would be fair. Rachel's voice grew cold. And still, in the decades since, more than 70% of the groceries ended up at Robyn's. This wasn't selfishness. This was breach of contract. Breach of trust? Breach of family. On the screen, Rachel cued a clip from Sister Wives in 2015. Robyn in the kitchen with Christine, smiling as she said, "We've all decided I'll do the grocery orders, 'cause I've got the time." Oh, she had the time, all right. The question is, what else did she have? The grainy video died off, and just like that, the courtroom was engulfed in silence. Not the regular kind, the heavy, smothering kind that feels like it's sitting on your chest. Rachel regarded Robyn, her voice level, but cutting through like a knife. "You looked into that camera and promised," she said, "but you lied." Robyn's lawyer sprang up immediately, objecting. Emotional manipulation was her claim, but the judge hardly flinched. "Miss Brown, you may respond," he said. Robyn stood up slowly, her shoulders shuddering, her eyes darting in every direction like a cornered animal. I didn't keep track," she stuttered, her voice quivering. "At first I did, but then life got frantic. The kids, the stress, the show." Rachel interrupted her, her tone cold and deliberate. "So your excuse is that you forgot to feed half the family?" "No." Robyn's voice trembled. Panic threaded through her words. "I never meant to hurt anyone. I thought Christine would tell me if something was amiss." Christine's voice, low and needle-sharp, drifted across the room. "I did." She didn't yell. She didn't have to. "You just didn't listen." Rachel clicked the projector once more. This time, a calendar appeared on the screen. Years of information from 2013 to 2021. Red symbols for Christine's contributions. Green for deliveries that had been confirmed to Robyn's residence. Yellow for Christine's deliveries. The presentation was incriminating. Nearly all green and yellow, with only a handful of red dots scattered about. She addressed the jury, her voice level but heavy with measured indignation. This wasn't a flippant verbal promise. It was written down, a choice they made so that no one child would be excluded. It was a matter of trust, of equity, of the values they professed to uphold. And Robyn Brown violated every aspect of it. The suit was not about the money, although there was enough of that on the table. This was about psychological harm, about the years of manipulation and abandonment in a system that was meant to be based on equity. Robyn's attorney attempted one final defense, claiming these were spiritual agreements between family members and not legal contracts. That Robyn was in a state of stress, acting in good faith without law training. But the judge leaned forward, eyebrows furrowing. Perhaps. But when you sign something in writing, particularly something that has to do with money and people's survival, the rules are still in effect. And then came the punchline. Rachel picked up one final sheet of paper, a printed email from 2016. She read it out loud, each word ringing out in the empty room. "Hi, Christine. Heads up. I needed to spend this month's grocery budget on some additional homeschooling materials and some bulk items for the pantry. I'll get to your house next cycle." Rachel let the breath catch on the page. That next cycle never materialized. It's 8 years. Christine looked down at her hands, her face calm but her eyes shining. The jury shifted uneasily. One woman wrote notes frantically. A man in the front row shook his head in disbelief. Rachel's voice became soft, but the hurt remained. "I don't believe. Robyn Brown is a monster. But I do believe she abused trust. Out of convenience, out of favoritism, out of control. And my client, a mother who sacrificed everything to this family, was the one who suffered." The courtroom adjourned for the day, but in the streets, the headlines were already being scripted. Signed and ignored. Christine's evidence shatters Robyn's defense. Courtroom bombshell. Robyn Brown violated pact to feed only her own children. Cody silent. Christine speaks truth in court. Inside, Christine walked past Robyn without a glance. No icy stare, no words. Just nothing. For the first time in years, Christine didn't feel like the invisible wife lingering at the edge of someone else's story. She was standing center stage now, and the world was finally listening. The world had witnessed for 4 days as Christine Brown peeled back the curtain, the 10-year-old secrets, the cold receipts, the broken promises, and the wounds never given a chance to heal. The public cried with her, raged for her, and splurged on social media, TikTok, and YouTube filled with rage. And then it was verdict day. The jury returned in, their faces grave. Christine sat, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Robyn gazed at the floor, squeezing a tissue in her hand. Cody sat behind her, arms folded, jaw set, not a word, just as he had throughout the trial. "Has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?" The judge inquired. "We have, Your Honor." The foreperson's hands shook as she moved the envelope down the table. The judge read the words aloud twice before he spoke. "In the case of Brown versus Brown, domestic agreement breach, financial abuse, and emotional harm, we hold for the plaintiff, Christine Brown." Gasps erupted throughout the room. Christine didn't flinch, didn't say a word, simply blinked slowly as tears formed but didn't fall. The penalties were imposed. $32,000 in restitution for the pilfered contributions, written apology in writing within 30 days, and a subsequent hearing to finalize payment. Christine let out a deep breath, her eyes closed as if she'd just emerged after being underwater for years. Her lawyer gave her shoulder a squeeze. "You did it. You told your truth." Gwendolyn behind them sobbed into her hands. McKelty leaned over and took her hand in a tight grasp. Robyn's white face raised to the judge. "I didn't want it to happen. I was doing my best." The judge's tone was stern. "Intent doesn't make the damage go away, Mrs. Brown. You signed an agreement. You violated it." Robyn leaned back in her chair. Cody leaned forward, glaring, not with sympathy, but with an edge to his voice. "You could have made this right years ago." Outside, the courthouse steps were chaotic. Cameras, microphones, flashes from all sides. Christine stepped out with her daughters by her side. No tears anymore. Only steady, unbreakable resolve. "I didn't come here to hurt anyone," she said to the media. "I came to stand up for my children, for the truth, and for every woman who's been forced to feel small in a system that insisted on her silence." She faced the cameras, addressing now every individual watching at home. "If you've ever been the one who gave more than you received, if you've ever stood by watching someone else be served first while you settled for less, I see you. I was you. And you deserve better." Robyn and Cody snuck out a side exit, bypassing the media. The damage was done. And not just in a legal sense. It was public, permanent. That evening, the web ignited. Christine wins big. Robyn abused family funds. $32,000 verdict in grocery betrayal. Cody silent as court affirms Robyn's favoritism. Excerpts of Gwendolyn's testimony went viral. Christine's speech posted on women's empowerment websites globally. Fans described it as the moment Christine finally reclaimed her power. 2 weeks after, Christine published a silent picture. Children gathered round a dinner table with her, all laughing and passing plates. Its caption was only a phrase, but very pointed. "This time we eat first." Robyn's published apology in court appeared weeks later. She confessed to mismanaging the grocery account and admitted that she had hurt people. Still, for many, it arrived far too late, certainly for Christine's kids. Christine continued to speak out, appearing on podcasts to discuss emotional labor in polygamous marriages. She addressed a women's rights panel in Salt Lake City. She even started writing a book, not a tell-all, but a textbook on money fairness in shared homes called More Than Enough, a story of taking back what was mine. Meanwhile, the Brown family fell apart. Trust between the wives and Robyn imploded. TLC halted production for good, and Cody, formerly the poster child of a polygamous dynasty, was now merely another man who stood for injustice until it was too late. Christine departed with more than a legal victory. She departed with her voice. And this time, she wasn't surrendering it to anyone.